In a bustling city full of dreams and ambitions, there lived a father named Ben. His life, though simple, was rich with love and dedication, especially for his daughter, Emma. A hard-working man, Ben had spent years behind the wheel of a bus, traveling the same routes every day, ferrying passengers from one place to another. His job wasn't glamorous, nor was it easy, but it was steady. It kept the roof over their heads and food on the table. Ben had driven this bus for more than 15 years. He had memorized the faces of the regular passengers, the rhythm of the city. The monotonous sound of the bus wheels on the road had become a part of him. But his mind often wandered, especially when he thought of Emma. She was everything to him. The reason he woke up every morning, the reason he kept going despite the long hours, the exhaustion, the loneliness. Emma had dreams, big dreams. Dreams of becoming a doctor and changing the world. Ben often thought about how he had worked his whole life to provide for her, and he wanted more for her than what he had. One bright, sunny morning, Emma came rushing into the living room, the envelope in her hand, her face beaming with excitement. She could hardly contain herself as she waved the letter in front of Ben. "Dad, look, I got it. I got the scholarship. I can finally go to college." Ben's heart skipped a beat as he looked at Emma, her eyes wide with excitement. The scholarship was her ticket. Her dream was about to come true. Emma had worked so hard, putting in countless hours of study, sacrificing time with her friends, all for this moment. This scholarship was not just a piece of paper. It was the key to her future. A future Ben had hoped for her from the day she was born. But as he looked at the letter, his joy was tinged with worry. The scholarship covered her tuition, but there were still many other expenses: living costs, books, travel, and meals. The burden of paying for all that weighed heavily on Ben's heart. Ben held the letter in his hands, staring at the words. His mind raced with the reality of what was being asked of him. The scholarship would help with tuition, but the rest, books, housing, food, it was all up to him. He wasn't sure how he could manage. His job as a bus driver barely paid for the essentials, and now he was faced with the possibility of disappointing his daughter. His whole life, he had worked hard, but it never seemed like enough. Could he really give her the life she deserved? The joy from Emma's face started to fade as Ben's silence grew heavy. She knew something was wrong. He hadn't said anything, but his face betrayed his thoughts. "Dad, what's wrong? You look so serious. You're not upset, are you?" Ben ran a hand through his hair, trying to gather his thoughts. He had to be honest with her. She deserved to know the truth. "Emma, I'm so proud of you. You've worked so hard for this. But there's something we need to talk about. The scholarship. It doesn't cover everything. There are expenses, books, rent, food, and I don't know how we're going to pay for it all." Ben sat down at the kitchen table, the scholarship letter still in his hands. The weight of his responsibility felt heavier than ever. Emma stood beside him, staring at him with wide eyes. "Dad, I don't want you to worry about me. I'll figure something out. I can maybe get a job, work during the weekends." Ben shook his head gently, his heart breaking at the thought of his daughter working while trying to focus on her studies. "No, Emma, you've worked too hard to let that happen. I promised you I would help you, no matter what, and I will. I just need to figure out how." The next morning, Ben made a decision. He had an old pocket watch, a family heirloom passed down from his father. It wasn't just a timepiece. It was a symbol of his own sacrifices. He had kept it as a reminder of the work his father had done for him. It was the last thing he had left from his father, a token of his legacy. But today, it would serve a different purpose. It would serve Emma's future. Ben walked into the pawn shop, his heart heavy. The shopkeeper looked at him with a raised eyebrow as Ben handed over the pocket watch. "Nice piece you've got here, but it's not worth much. I'll give you what I can." The shopkeeper offered a small sum, far less than what the watch was worth, but it was enough for the moment. Ben didn't hesitate. He took the money and left the shop. It wasn't much, but it was something. It would help Emma get by, at least for the first few months. Ben returned home, his hands shaking as he held the money. Emma was sitting on the couch, waiting for him to return. Her eyes widened as he walked through the door, holding something in his hand. "I sold the watch. It's not much, but it's a start. We'll figure out the rest together." Emma's eyes filled with tears as she looked at the money in her father's hand. She hadn't wanted him to sacrifice anything more for her, but seeing him hand over the watch she knew he would do whatever it took. Dad, you didn't have to do this. Yes, I did. You're my daughter, Emma. Your future is worth every sacrifice. I want you to have the life you've always dreamed of. The day Emma left for college, Ben stood in the doorway, watching her as she packed her suitcase. She had grown up so quickly, and he felt a deep sense of pride and sadness. He had always known she was meant for great things, and today was the beginning of her journey. But it was also the end of an era for him. He would no longer be there to watch her every move, to guide her. She was ready. As the bus pulled away, Ben stood on the sidewalk, watching it disappear into the distance. A single tear slipped down his cheek, but it wasn't one of sadness. It was a tear of hope. Hope that Emma's future would be brighter than his own. And as he turned to walk back into the house, he knew this was only the beginning. The sacrifices he had made would never be in vain. He had given her a future, and that was all that mattered. Emma was set to take on the world. And Ben? Well, he had given her everything he had. The future was hers now. As we conclude Ben and Emma's heartfelt journey, we are reminded of the extraordinary power of love and sacrifice. Every step Ben took, every sacrifice he made, was for Emma's future, a future that now shines with endless possibilities. His story is one of hope, of believing in something greater than oneself, and it leaves us with a thought-provoking message. Our love and actions can create ripples of change that will resonate for generations. Now, we want to hear from you. What sacrifices have you made for your loved ones? And what dreams are you chasing for your own future? Share your thoughts with us and join the conversation. And if you've been inspired by Ben and Emma's journey, don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more stories that touch the heart. Thank you for listening. And remember, no sacrifice is too great when it's for the people we love. Until next time, keep believing in yourself and the dreams you carry. Your future is waiting.